Hello, friends. Cowboy Jobu here at the Jobu Report. And as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Jobu Report. We would be nothing without each and every one of you. Well, let's go to the tape from NFL Network for the latest on the Dallas Cowboys, including Jason Garrett's press conference about Tyron.
All right, let's go back to the game last night, which was a pretty darn good game. Love that Ezekiel Elliott had the Emmitt Smith jersey on before the game. Emmitt cheering him on from upstairs when he busted this one out. A 55-yard sprint to the right corner of the end zone in a 7-7 game. Zeke had 12 carries for 80 yards. He had himself 2 touchdowns. There's Emmitt. Good of the white beard, by the way. Hey, the Lions made this a game. They're up 21-14 when Dez did this. They probably both should have been flagged. Only one flag there on Glover Quinn for DPI. Dez Bryant's 66th career receiving touchdown, putting him second on the all-time list, moving him past Michael Irvin, and then Dez threw a touchdown as well. Dez to Jason Witten for the 10-yard score. The Cowboys beat the Lions and Matthew Stafford 42-21. Dez said, the best touchdown I ever experienced in my life. It's hard to meet his standards, but he'll get you right. At Jason Witten. Moment for the book, Jason Witten said, evidently in a tweet that you saw up there for half a second. Meantime, Week 17 playoff scenarios are like this. The Lions are still very much in it. They beat the Packers Sunday night at Ford Field. They are in. And if the Redskins lose earlier in the day, the loser of that Green Bay-Detroit game is the wild card. Now, the Redskins are pretty much in with a win. However, they're not guaranteed in with a win. Because if they win and the Packers and Lions tie later in the day, then both of those teams are in and the Redskins are out. As for the Buccaneers, all they need is this. That's it. That's all they need. And they're in. The Cowboys are locked in at number 1. The Cowboys get the Eagles. Jason Garrett moments ago. What's your plan now for resting guys?
Yeah, we had some preliminary discussions about it this morning. And, we're focused on putting our practices together and our day together tomorrow and for Thursday and Friday. So we'll have more conversations about that. Our focus on everybody who's healthy, practicing, and planning on playing in this ball game. And that's the approach that we're really taking all year long.
Can you update us on Tyron Smith, please?
Yeah, Tyron hurt his knee, and it looks like he's going to be out, but it doesn't look like it's a severe injury at this point.
Would it be out if this was a playoff game kind of thing? Or
Don't really know. I mean, just don't anticipate him practicing tomorrow. So we'll take his situation day by day.
How about Terrell McClain and Anthony Brown?
Terrell McClain in that same situation coming out of the game. Don't anticipate him practicing tomorrow. And Anthony Brown seems to be doing fine.
How have you seen the connection between Dak and Dez progress over the course of the season?
Well, hopefully just with time and experience together, there's a comfort level that exists. That's an important thing between a quarterback and a receiver. And just spending time together, working on routes against all the different looks in practice and in games. Hopefully over time you can learn from those experiences and get better. And I think the biggest thing there is seeing things the same way, feeling things the same way, and just having a confidence level in each other. And I think it's definitely improved just the amount of time they spent together. It's been a positive thing for each of them.
They hit on a back shoulder fade yesterday, what appeared to be one they've done it a couple times in the last 3 or 4 weeks. Is that a hard throw for a quarterback to make, for a quarterback receiver combo to get down? More so than any other kind of throw you make?
I don't know that it's any more difficult. It certainly requires some time on task. Again, having a feel for each other and the timing of it, and the relationship between the defender and the receiver and where the ball is going to go. It just takes time, and you work on those things in practice. We spend a lot of time doing that, and then getting the game opportunities, and hopefully you learn as you go.
Back to Tyron, I'm sorry. Do you think for the playoff game will he be good by then? Do you think the 2 weeks will get him back?
Yeah, again, we like to take him day by day. He missed the second part of the game yesterday, and we don't anticipate him practicing tomorrow. So right now we'll take it day by day, but we view him as not being an active practice participant.
So you expect, and they clear you to play left tackle, or are you guys alter the line in any way with that?
Yeah, we'll just take it as the week goes on. Emmett went in for Tyron yesterday and did a nice job, and he's been in that position for most of the year. So I thought he handled himself well, but we'll take that situation day by day.
All right, Jason Garrett, moments ago, he basically wasn't really tipping his hand there on the quarterback and the running back, but want to play you what Jerry Jones said last night about the possibility of playing Tony Romo week 17 in Philadelphia. Said it's not going to happen.
We don't feel like that any game we'd get from him stepping out there and running a few plays or a series of plays or several plays would not be worth the risk.
Let's go live to the Ford Center, Frisco, Texas, here at the Star. Jane Slater live with us on Up to the Minute. A lot to unpack there, Jane. Number one, Jason Garrett really not tipping his hand as to what he's going to do other than the injured guys, Tyron Smith notably, more on him in a second. But can you help me make sense of the fact that Jerry Jones says he doesn't want to get Tony Romo injured, yet they're willing to put Dak Prescott out there and potentially risk his injury?
It didn't make sense to me, Andrew. I mean, I pressed him a little bit on that last night, especially when you look at some of the hits that Dak Prescott took in that game. You know, I asked him why not put a guy like Tony Romo out there, and as you are referring to, he said that they just can't risk it. Now, I don't know exactly what he means by that. It'll be interesting to see if Mark Sanchez will be active in the Eagles game, but there was a moment during that game last night. It was a small moment, but we did hear the fans start chanting, "We want Tony," and it was, I think, 8 minutes to go in the game. Of course, they had a large lead, but there was no movement. I looked in my binoculars over at the bench, and there was Tony Romo with the baseball cap on, not looking like he was warming up. So, you know, look, I know that they want to play these young guys. Jason Garrett has referenced the fact that he likes the rhythm. He doesn't want these guys to get out of sync, and he does want to play them. I think Dak Prescott does play in Philadelphia. It's just a matter of how much and then who's going to be the backup, and they really haven't tipped their hat as to who that's going to be just yet.
No, but Jason Garrett did say that Tyron Smith, in all likelihood, is not going to play this week. Was he definitive on that, Jane?
Well, it looks like he's dealing with a knee issue. He came out of the game at left tackle, and of course, Emmett Cleary was able to go in there. And they've had a lot of success with some of the backups this year. Ron Leary, of course, coming in for La'el Collins earlier this year, and he's done a nice job on that O-line. And Emmett Cleary is a veteran guy, a guy they picked up this season, so he was able to be serviceable for this team. Obviously, was able to play through that game. I saw Tyron Smith in the locker room afterwards. He didn't look incredibly limited, and this is a tough guy. I mean, he's been dealing with the back issue this year. Leading up to this season, he never missed any games. I believe he missed 2 this season with that back injury. So he's been playing through a few things. Of course, a lot of the guys on this team are playing through some things. And, I think that goes back to what Jason Garrett was saying. He referenced what Belichick had mentioned earlier in one of his press conferences about playing these starters. You're kind of limited at some of these positions in terms of who you can play and who you can't play just based on some of the health of the team. And, offensive line, they've got some flexibility there. But on defense, I think that's the area they're going to be really concerned about when you look at the fact they had 7 guys dressed out last night. Of course, they lost 2 coming out with the injury. I think the defensive line's one to keep your eye on. They've got Kyle Wilbur, who's played several linebacker positions, and they moved up to the defensive line. Tyrone Crawford was another one they moved up this season. So Rod Marinelli's been getting creative. We'll see what he does moving forward this weekend.
It's amazing. That guy has been a miracle worker the last couple of years with the way he's mixed and matched the pieces with all those injuries and the suspension. So Rod Marinelli certainly has done his job coaching. So too is Jason Garrett, who I'm told, Jane, has now Des Bryant in his corner lobbying for Coach of the Year.
Well, and he brings up a good point. When you look at what could have been a quarterback controversy this season, none of these guys were really leaking information this year. When you talk to the guys, they sound like Jason Garrett. The rookies really bought into Jason Garrett. And, these guys don't really step out of line. I mean, they kind of follow coach speak. They kind of do exactly what coach expects of his player. And, this season, what you've got is a bunch of guys that really want to play football. They want to do it the right way. That's something that's been big for Jason Garrett. But, as Des Bryant put it, this is a guy that gets you to really believe in what he's talking about. And even Des talked about this a couple of weeks ago about his relationship with Jason Garrett. He says it's that of like a father-son, big brother, little brother relationship. And, Jason looks at some of these guys as his kids, and it's been interesting to see a lot of these guys buy into it, especially that relationship between Garrett and Dak, which really began back in training camp when they started working on these accuracy drills after practice. It very much look like a father and son throwing the football in the backyard, and you've seen that relationship kind of grow this season. But it's been amazing when you look at the turnaround. A 4-12 team last season, now 13-2.
It's amazing how at the Senior Bowl in Mobile, we focus so much on Jason Garrett's relationship with Carson Wentz. And at the end, we should have been looking at what Jason Garrett was saying to Dak Prescott. Jane Slater, they're live at the Ford Center, the Star in Frisco, Texas. Thank you.